Hello, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is Dave, and I will be your keeper of arcane lore for this session of Call of Cthulhu. Currently, we are playing through A Time to Harvest, and you can get your own copy of the game from Chaosium.com. All of our previous episodes are available on the Chaosium YouTube, and if you're watching it there, be sure to leave a comment, let us know what you think. If you'd like to watch the Chaos unfold live, we do stream each Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific over on the Chaosium Twitch channel. Also, we recently launched a Discord server for the Stream of Chaos. So if you want to drop in and have a chat or just stay updated on what's coming next, Jim will put the details in our Twitch chat now, and I'll also make sure that's included in the YouTube description, so it'll just be up there if you want to find that. As always, thank you to Roll20 and Sirenscape for being great tools which we use to improve our games, and without further ado, let us return. So when we pick back in, it is still this one long night of disaster. The storm continues to break overhead, and in the distance, thunder can be heard rolling. Our four investigators are seeking shelter in the McLaren farmhouse, but currently loading up one of the vehicles that they will drive out towards the military base that has gone dark, and then beyond to the Migo base, where hopefully explosives will set things to rest once and for all. As we introduce each of our investigators, can you let us know how they're looking after this long night of disaster, and also how they've been recently augmented by Sebastian's magic? What form has that taken on them? Speaking of which, Art, why don't you begin?
Hi, I'm Art, and I was distracted by updating our little overlay with some more crosses to show who else we've murdered throughout this game. I like keeping an idea of our body count. Speaking of bodies, Sebastian's is rather fucking tired at this point, as is mine. And I think, for the most part, after doing an inordinate amount of magic, and then being put somewhere, hopefully padded for a short period to come to his senses after that point, he's probably still a little bit shaken by what he just did. So he's sort of assisting as much as he is capable, moving things into the car, but I think he's quite distracted. He's not really with it. He's still a little in the corner, and I'm not really sure what's going on. And he keeps reaching for familiar objects to sort of try and keep himself grounded. So that's Sebastian.
So rather than having you roll a bout of madness for every spell you cast, we handled all that off stream. We've rolled the numbers, so those have all been applied to characters. But Art, how did Sebastian react just overall? Was it anger? Was it, guilt? What was the sort of manifestation of this madness?
I think for Sebastian at this point, it was like a sort of crushing despair that, because now he knows, A, that everything he read is 100% real, and B, he can't ever unlearn that. So I think it's sort of a existential horror, if you will, of the world. I think he just sort of possibly entirely blanked for a hot sec, and just stared into space and possibly flailed wildly when anyone came nearby. Just didn't know where he was or what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's
Kinda
probably
just
the
lost
most.
himself.
Yeah. It was. I think being lost to existential dread is a pretty good one for him at this point.
As far as things go. Okay, perfect. So up next, the person who possibly had to hold Sebastian down, Jackson, do you want to introduce Chaz? Boom.
Yeah, I'm Jackson, and I'm playing Chaz Dedrick, who is not doing good, but that's okay. He's holding on to life with 4 hit points, so he's had a hell of a night. Been battered and bruised and thrown from cars and shot at, and I was about to say stabbed, but I don't think he's been stabbed tonight. So that's good.
Would you like to be?
I'll see how it comes.
I've got my
Whenever
notes here. I can just update them.
You got bear trapped. Those have points.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Several small stabbings.
If I get stabbings to the table, is everyone gonna get a bit of a stab? Dave, get us around of stabs to the table. That's fine.
I'm just gonna pop it on a sticky note and put it in my notes.
It'll just be there, and if anyone wants it, Yeah, and as far as the magic goes, oh boy, we got a little bit of like armor. That's what the magic was, right?
You got a lot of bit of armor. It's like temporary hit points. It'll go through that first. And Sebastian rolled quite a lot for each of you, sacrificing their own mental state to do so. Previously, I've described as like your flesh like twists up and knots into mats of calluses and like sores across you to absorb. But you know, give it your own spin.
Yeah, that's fine. I like that. Chaz will spend the next however period of car ride they have just like punching himself in the arm. And like nodding impressed, and then punching himself in the other arm, and then slapping himself in the face. And it's like, doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. That's amazing.
Sounds great. All right, perfect. So as everyone's loading up things into the car, Chaz is taking the opportunity to drop things onto his own feet and marvel at the lack of damage taken. All right, next, James, can you please introduce Katie?
Absolutely. I am playing Katie Wilkes, the bookworm with a flair for all things criminal. I have been... Everyone else kind of looks a little cool, you know, haunted or just tough in general. I think I'm shrinking back into myself. I think the clothes has stretched out all my clothes. Sorry, the rain has stretched out all my clothes, but not me. I've kind of done that thing where I'm disappearing into the hood a little bit and my sleeves are draping over my arms just slightly. So this is all a little bit out of my depth, but amidst the sagging hood of the soggy big coat I've got is a face set with determination and kind of riveted by these strange, like, thick ridges of protection from the magic applied by Seb.
Hell yeah, awesome. Is Katie loading up anything special for this journey? What may be the last? I mean, this is no longer a safe place.
I think I am erring on the side of everything we can fit in there. If I spot something that's important, it's going straight in. I'm grabbing stuff, just in general stuff. And most critically, I'm going to be bringing a small bundle containing like a coat, a blanket, a sandwich, and some water. But I'll come back to that later. I have a small plan for that equipment specifically.
Does Katie still have her little box of shredded wheat?
I wish. Oh God, no! That would be fantastic. But I think that at this stage, it's just really, it's everything that we had that was salvageable from the farmhouse. Going through. Oh, one last detail. My clothes have to be spattered with some Migo juice. I don't know how much juice when you back them, but it's covered in it. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And your well-used cudgel. All right, perfect. Finally, Alex, could you please introduce Joe?
Hello, I'm Alex. I'm playing Josephine Johnston, Jo, who had a fair bit of success in removing a dark young from the world. Also removed half of her arm. But she's still considering it a win because that was a degree of vengeance that she's quite happy with. She is, the way that the armor has manifested on her is fairly similar to the others, where it's like almost like raised welts that are interconnected, but because of how things have been this evening, there's blood caked in between the welts, and there's almost like tiger stripes of hardened skin with dried blood in between. She's very she's not shaky on her feet, but every now and then there's like if you catch her in a certain light, there's a grey cast to her features, as Jo is on 3 hit points. So
almost entirely held up by magic.
Yeah, look, at this point, she's got a crutch, and it is Seb's magic. Her and Chaz are not doing great, I suppose, but you know what? Hanging in there. In terms of what Jo's loading up with, look, explosives have worked for her in the past, and she's going to continue with that. And also, I think Jo is probably sitting there loading and unloading and reloading her sawn-off shotgun, like practicing doing it with one arm.
Oh, sick. Yeah, awesome. And you can have that sort of holster on a sling underneath your coat.
And she's getting drunk.
Yes, so that was actually what we were going to come back to. So let's come back into everyone. So the car's been loaded. Every now and then when you run out with one of the boxes, you go to put it into the trunk, and when you open it, you will see you have again the unconscious Jason Haggerty stowed within, crudely lashed with ropes and stowed towards the back. You can put a couple things in here, but just be aware that if he wakes, he will have access to them too. Everything else will need to be lashed onto the roof, because between the four of you, you will fill this truck to the brim. Outside, the storm is still coming down in just waves of water that wash away mud and silt, and from the doorway to the short run to the car, you become immediately drenched. Outside in the trees, they hang thick with water, and you occasionally think you can see something soaring overhead, but they're only flashes. For a moment, you will rush back inside to grab another load and bring it out. You've lost track of what exact time it is, but you know it's late. Art and Jim both had something to clarify? Or was it just jazz hands out?
Oh no, I
After you, please.
Mine has less to do with what's currently going on, so we can come back to it later. Don't stress.
Okay, mine was probably silly a little as well. I just had this image of you described, Dave, of like us basically strapping stuff to the roof of this car, and it just occurred to me that we're going to be packed to the brim, all terribly wounded. There is a child in the back. There are guns everywhere, and if we get pulled over,
By her.
Yeah, the deputy may or may not no longer have a head.
Yeah,
or a throat. I can't remember, one of those. And I'm pretty sure the sheriff is slowly being poisoned, so I don't think anyone's going to try and stop us.
It's an abstract concern. The car's also
you got shot point blank in the head.
Hey, look,
so
the only thing we're missing.
Yeah.
The only thing we're missing on the top of the car is the bathtub.
I think. What if we? I reckon we chuck the weaponry and shit in the back seat, not in the boot, because the boot's occupied by a child.
Point on the child.
Yes.
Probably do this in character.
Yeah.
On Haggerty. Hi. We have technically we have a cell. We could throw him in gently, i.e. a basement that no one's really going to find and that we can lock from the outside, so...
And we know that it's relatively safe thanks to Katie.
That's not a bad idea. Plus, the people in the town know about it. They'll probably think to look here. We could put some food down there.
Can Migos read?
Oh, I don't know if the Migo are ever going to come back down here. I mean,
I guess.
Ideally, we go to the base and we drive them off, but the people from Cobb's Corners, on the other hand, they might...
Well, yeah, let's leave a note saying there's a child in the basement and leave it.
I don't like it. I don't know. Does he know too much? What does he know? What doesn't he know? I want to keep a high handle on him.
He's like 12, Jazz.
The other option
When I was 12,
that's a good point, actually.
I could mess some people up.
He was 12, but he did seem to be the one that the deputy trusted to drive him here and back. He's definitely in some way involved.
12-year-old who can drive stick shift. I'm impressed.
What's his drive auto skill, Dave?
Yeah.
We didn't get to the chase.
Can we get him to drive us?
There is some fun context, though. We're back in like the 1920s, 1930s. My grandmother was born around then, and the first thing she learned to do was drive a tractor backwards at the age of 8.
Wow.
Dad was like, if you can drive a tractor backwards, you can drive anything forwards.
Yeah, so 12's not that impressive.
That's just country. It's country living. You're going to teach kids how to drive.
I'm no longer intimidated by this 12-year-old.
Listen, I've got a suggestion. The other way we can do this, if we want to, take Jason out of the equation, but not,
take him out.
Yeah. I reckon he's pretty resourceful, and he's clearly on the side of the wizards and the forest more broadly.
Hey.
Maybe we start to drive off towards the Migo base, and once we're several hours away, deep in the woods, we say, here's a sandwich, some water, and a blanket so you're not going to freeze. You're going to have a miserable night trekking back towards town, but unless he has some kind of way to get in contact and get someone to come and scoop him up, and even then that's going to be logistically difficult, he'll be fine, but also out of the picture while we do what we need to do.
I don't mean that. That's a great idea. if Haggerty doesn't have the same ability as a deputy to call on literally the entire forest he's surrounded by to get him home.
Or to get back at us for putting him in a cupboard.
Yeah. I personally don't really... I think we need to do something with him.
Place. I think the basement is the place. Like, we know there's no Migo in there because Katie murderized it. And we can close it. It's well hidden. And we can leave a note to make sure he doesn't, like... sandwich is a good idea, though. I think we should definitely probably leave him food and water. Kids need that, I think.
Do they? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Probably. Okay, so that sounds like it'll work then. Let's take him out and we'll bring him to the basement. We'll give him some food and we'll leave a note outside just to explain what's going on. Then we go to deal with the Migos, so they probably won't come back here. And if Haggerty is involved with Jason is involved with everything that than we think he is. They'll come pick him up at some point from the farmhouse. They'll find where he went.
I do think it's worth noting, we're dealing with two separate entities here. You all do understand that, don't you?
Yeah.
The Migo I don't know that they're working together necessarily. They may be. I assumed originally that they were actually at loggerheads with one another, which is...
I don't know that they are. I feel like we'd be seeing a lot more cosmic battle bullshit if they were.
Well, if that were the case, I don't know that we would see more cosmic battle bullshit as lose our minds to it, but your point does stand. I don't think we need to worry about the Migo coming and getting Jason. I think we need to worry about... did I ever mention Shub Niggurath?
No.
Cool.
Friend of yours?
Well, I had its knife for a while, but I'm assuming that also maybe possibly got lost in the forest, so, I wouldn't say friend, or anything close to friend, given that I don't think the human concept of friendship works on alien and impossible minds, but, forest controlling thing... I really, don't know how to describe it. It's not indescribable, I just haven't learned enough yet, just to be clear.
I mean, please don't. I don't think I could handle many more descriptions of things.
That's also, I'm not sure how much I want to actually talk about any of this stuff, but, yeah. So, tree creatures, bug creatures, maybe hate each other, maybe don't, but hate each other less than I thought they might.
There's going to be risks here. There's going to be, but I think that the best plan is we put Jason in the basement.
Well, is it riskier to take him with us, or is it risky to put him somewhere?
I think it's risky to take him with us if he's got any powers like his old man.
I don't know. But if he doesn't,
down upon us.
But
I only got one arm
he's
left.
a hostage, right? We can use him as a bargaining chip.
Oh, bargaining.
What's the word I'm looking for? Bargaining chip. Yeah.
Do they bargain? Do they care?
But there's a chance someone cares about him, right?
Probably not the tree things in the... Ugh.
I think that it's pretty likely that the things we're working against don't care, and if there are people who do, maybe we don't want to use him as a hostage just for that.
Also,
I think that
They might just kill us.
it's more liability, it's more danger, it's more stress. I think we put him in the basement, we get on the road, head up towards the Migo base via the soldiers' camp to see if we can rally anybody remaining.
Also,
Let's go. Let's do it.
There is one other good reason to maybe leave him behind. This whole thing, we're fighting things that aren't human, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I'd say part of that fighting has maybe made us a little bit less human ourselves, and I'd like to hold on to what humanity I have. I'd prefer not to use children as hostages where possible. I think that's there is a time and place for the explosive option. Like, is there nuclear options in the 30s? I don't think so.
Well, you've got 4 very large explosives just downstairs.
Great, yeah.
So.
I'm just trying to find the 1930s equivalent of the nuclear option.
Yeah.
I don't think that's around yet. Insert appropriate
you muted, Jackson.
phrase.
I sure am. All right. Yeah. No, let's not use kids as hostages. Has anyone checked his skull?
No.
We haven't.
Skull. Might
Well,
be a
I'm
kid.
gonna like pop the boot and be like, we're taking him out anyway.
Yep.
And then as I walk past, I'm gonna I'm gonna elbow Seb with my remaining elbow and just say, I'm definitely a bit less human, and go pop the trunk.
Seb looks
Yeah.
slightly confused and then just like starts heaving with laughter and then kind of almost crying with laughter and then sort of just, it's a lot of, I think that's what gets him out of his little funk headspace is he's just like, oh god, okay, cool. We're good for now.
Chaz and Katie move some of the like rubble away to clear a path, and Joe heads over to the boot and pops it open. The back had been sort of dented in one of the attacks, but inside, Jason Haggerty, a young boy of about 13 or 14 with wet brown hair and clad in dark clothes, all completely soaked. He's got a bump growing on the back of his head, and he's currently still unconscious, and he seems to have almost like reverted. He's curled up into a sort of a fetal position, and his thumb is in his mouth, which he's sucking on passively. As you go over and push the wet hair out of the way, there is no clear sign of a scar around it. He doesn't appear to have one of the markings of the Migo's brain swap.
Quick question.
I'll pick him up with one arm, he's still a child.
Shub Niggeroth doesn't, that's not the weird fetal one, is it?
You're thinking of Nyarlathotep's aspects, the sort of alien-esque curve.
Actually, I think
Just
it's
very
Shub Niggeroth has
suspicious of you, that's all.
a lot of ties to fertility and things in that shape, so it's not totally out of line.
Okay.
Joe scoops Jason up and begins to walk back inside, where a path is cleared, and you can collectively lower him down into the cold, dark cells of the underneath. There are no working lights down here, and it's only by your torches that you find the bars can open them and place him where Jason Trent was, or the body of Jason Trent not too long ago. As he's placed inside, he whimpers slightly and curls up on the sort of blanket that you've laid down, and you hear faintly, almost under his breath and slipping through consciousness, him go, "Mummy."
Blanket,
Yeah.
sandwich, water.
Blanket, sandwich, water.
Like-
Hot chocolate.
Eat on the table, visible, out of his reach, but so that someone can see it if they're coming in, and we'll say courteously, "Someone's gonna come get you." Okay. Goodbye.
Riding a
Turn and leave.
Okay. A note is placed downstairs, so if anyone finds him, they know something of the situation. And above you can... So he's locked inside. This was made to hold Trent as well. And then above you can lower the hatch, although it isn't secured itself. You clear the rubble, so anyone coming in here will pointedly see it. And if he's inside yelling, they'll definitely hear him. You can leave a note upstairs as well. In the event that you don't return, someone will find him.
Yeah,
No
Child in
worries.
basement, smiley face.
So from here, the car is
Child in
loaded with all
basement,
of your...
please do not release for 24 hours, okay, thanks.
Don't open
the car
till
is loaded
Christmas.
with rudiment, like your basic supplies, rope and things like that. But 2 things of note need to be clarified. One is the explosives. They are not necessarily waterproof, and you don't know the exact state that they are in. There are 5 of them, fairly like sizable, like small barrels, basically. Quite well designed with little timers and wires and all sorts of shit. So I need to know what you're doing with those and if you're bringing them. And secondly, I need to know how inebriated people are planning to get. Note, it is a constitution roll, and if you fail that, you will have a penalty dice on all tests going forward. But it could be the line between madness and sanity.
Well,
I'll jump in first to say I'm not drinking at all. My sanity is still relatively intact. I've had a pretty shocking series of good luck.
Okay, well you can have a shot for courage if you want it, but you don't need to, drink. It's like it'll be like half a bottle or a third of a bottle or so of cheap liquor to get you over the edge.
I'm probably not gonna drink heaps either, just enough to like numb some of the physical pain.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I'm at the point where like sanity loss is gonna be fun. For me
Okay,
as a player, but for Jo, it's kind of, you know, she recognizes that a one-armed drunk is probably not going to be super helpful.
Okay, so in that case, you're also still in the sort of the for courage
Yeah.
side of
For
things.
warmth.
7 Chaz.
Chaz would probably, yeah.
Imbibe?
I think just get tanked, sloshed, hammered, and or
Completely
raped.
shit-faced.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does he in fact
Awesome.
get maggot?
Does he in fact become a champion anyway?
And he is
Utterly
to that.
bombed.
We come back in and Chaz is doing shoeies in the...
It's
And he stumbles out and grabs
Which
the
is
keys.
great because
Let's
he's
go.
never heard of them. He
Yeah.
just invents shoeies.
Champion. Seb.
Oh,
All
sorry.
the cool kids are doing it. Seb.
As much as I understand, it may be safer to dull the mind. My mind's kind of all I have left, so I think I'll keep mine clear. Just don't let me do anything too stupid, please.
Okay.
More for
So
Chazzy.
a couple of bottles can be loaded up into the tray to be applied as medicine if necessary, but Chaz works his way through a bottle as the rest of you slide into the car. Chaz, can you go ahead and make a
Yeah.
constitution roll, please?
It's an impressive amount of liquor. Okay.
Oh,
Oh, mate.
Okay.
That's how it's done.
You have downed the equivalent of about half a bottle of sort of like that cloudy looking whiskey. The cork's been abandoned at some point, and as you get into the car yourself, you've just got your thumb over the top so that you can carry it with you for the rest of the journey. You are temporarily immune to sanity loss up to 4 points. However,
my
I will be
God.
recording all the sanity loss you take, and when you have the hangover tomorrow morning, it might all come to you in a head. But you have no impairment as you have succeeded the con roll, so well done.
That's wild. That's
Quick
so
question.
good.
That's
How
so
long
cool.
has it taken us to load up the car?
It would only be a half hour, 45 or something, between Trent and having a drink. You guys could have started loading while Joe was being medicined, that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's 4 of us, like we can get shit done.
So about a half
Cool.
hour.
I'm just wondering whether or not an hour has passed.
No,
Oh.
not since the car has been loaded up.
Magic for you.
As in whether an hour has passed since I went off the deep end for a little bit. Because every hour I get magic points back.
Yeah, no, an hour has not passed yet.
Very good. I
It'll
will
happen on the road.
every now and again be like, how long has it been? Because that matters now.
We'll track that. Good point. Okay. What is happening with the explosives and who is driving?
Explosives are probably in the back seat, and Joe's probably going to be there trying to like dry them out as much as possible without triggering any of them. And Joe is not driving.
Did we not establish that there were a couple of waterproof bags? I feel like that was something that was mentioned last session. Like, that there were some
There
waterproof
were.
bags we could, like, store them in for, you know, obviously
Yeah.
not perfect, but that'll help someone.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah,
Can
so
I
you can
get
like
either
dab away.
a survival or a mechanical repair or electrical repair roll, something like that, to see how many of these you can comprehensively cover?
Let me have a look. Let me just see where I'm at for those ones.
Got some good mechanical repair, I believe.
Yeah,
so
I'm
you can
okay.
assist or you can-
Mechanical repair. Yeah, mechanical repair is not
If
too
two
bad.
of you want to take this role, that'd be good. I have
Yeah.
some survival. I will
Yeah, we'll take
drive, if that's all right, because there is a chance that if someone is driving who might go into a bout, we don't want them to have control of what direction we're heading.
That's a good
I still might go
point.
into a bout, but I have possibly the best chance of not.
How's that for thinking ahead?
Is survival in natural world, you mean? Or is it track or
No, so survival's
Us-
on the
there it is.
right-hand side. It's got
Yeah.
it like a, because you can have like categories under it.
Yes, yeah. It's one of the ones that is not in. Yeah.
not listed by
mechanical repair.
Sure. Do one of you or Chaz roll? Joe, I think it makes more sense that you're leading this. You've studied some chemistry and things, so if Chaz wants to assist with the more practical
I can
aspects of
help.
duct taping bags together.
What is your mechanical repair?
50.
maybe you roll and I'm guiding.
Okay. All right. And also with the hand restriction, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, so I'm kind of pointing things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
bonus.
searching that for a bit. What do we
Take
do?
that bonus dice,
Take the bonus dice.
just in case.
No.
Okay, we'll take that. All right. You are able to get some of the bags wrapped around the explosives and sort of tape them together. The interior of the car does have, like, the canvas roof is bowed in with water and it's dripping in places, and then you secure them all to one side and hope that no shocks on the road are going to trigger these. Noting that these are fairly, like, specialist and early days explosives, you don't know what's going to trigger these, and it's literally driving around with a bomb placed quite near you. Also, as the two of you study and go over them, it appears that 3 of them are in the same state, which is a bit further on, and you expect those to mean they are at completion. The other 2 seem to have portions missing that these other ones have. Some of the cabling hasn't been finished, or there's a casing that was removed and doesn't look like it's been put back on. They don't seem to be completely finished, but possibly a big enough shock will set them off anyway.
Yeah. Can I have made sure to grab like a fuse line and you know, a lighter and match, like that sort of thing, just if there were
100%.
bits and bobs around that I know what they are and can see that they're easily part of the whole triggering
I'll assume each
exclusive
of you
thing.
have sort of like toolkits relevant to your pursuit. You came to this pretty well prepared.
Yeah.
Art?
Was in the wreckage and like the, you know, when we were sort of searching around for stuff, did you say that we found or we were able to locate the map of the Migo base and that it had been updated slightly? Was that correct?
I can't remember what I said yesterday, but you definitely found the map with the 2 pins.
Yesterday?
And last week. And it shows the area of Broken Hill with a couple of marks. Yes, it had, because Morrison had returned and updated it. So yes, and it had a few points showing entrances. So now you don't just have the one way in, you have 4 of them, although 1 has still not been found.
Okay. So
And a number of them are like scouted, but not like investigated thoroughly.
Yeah,
There's
cool.
the main one, the one that says to Broken Hill. That one is straight in, and that one's been seen previously. The others, they're not certain of.
Yeah, that's cool. It was just on the basis of like if we're taking down entrances when we get into this place, because I think that was the deal. Just knowing, like, now we actually know where some of them are is all I'm wondering.
That's
Which
right.
is cool. Sweet. Cool.
Okay. All right. With that, everyone loads
Sick.
into the car, and Katie can get the engine to life and begin to slowly drive across the bridge and beyond. By the time you leave at this point, a few hours have passed since you arrived here, and now the bridge is completely... There's several inches of water rushing straight across it constantly. The creek is completely flooded, and as soon as you get on it, one of the wheels slides across, and you're bumped against the small ledge on the other side of the bridge that is sort of driving along it very cautiously. Katie, can you please make a drive order roll?
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Let's crash this thing immediately.
And if you're willing to go slowly, you can take a bonus dice. It's just going to be time.
I'm more than willing. Yes. Fail, all the same.
Okay. Immediately, as you move it across, the whole thing begins to skid and slide, and just as you're getting towards the other end, it pulls backwards, and the bridge actually buckles. You can hear one of the screws or something snap towards the other side, and it begins to shift away, shearing the metal. You're able to get the wheels over the other side and onto the land, and spinning wetly in the tires in mud. It mounts the other side, but the bridge behind you hits the ground, hits into the water rather, and is soon swept away. Unfortunately, the way behind you is no longer there. Noting as well that moving forward, if you do anything at speed through this searing rain, you risk sliding off instantly, crashing into something, or just completely being unable to see through the just cutting sheets of it.
So essentially, what you're saying is, if we fuck this up, we're just gonna make
up.
Yeah, we're gonna cannon this shit.
You've also got a ton of explosives. That's where going to be the fumble. The fail will typically just be you cannot go any further along this route, and you will stop earlier unless you're doing things at speed.
Watch us take a bathtub to the center of the earth.
All right. On to the other side though. Katie takes a moment and then gets the truck back into gear, and you begin to make your way heading north towards where... Actually, I don't know that it is north, but heading along that one road towards where you know the military camp was hidden. It's not a very long drive, but it takes quite a while just with the rain slowing your travel. And Katie, like, peering forward over the steering wheel, trying to make anything out. You've only got one flickering headlight. And because it occasionally shuts out, you basically have to stop for a moment and restart the engine or get out and bang it. And then it clicks back into shape. Occasionally when it does so, it suddenly captures all the trees bent over and things. You think you see shadows thrown from them. You have to stop several times and actually park the car because a tree has fallen down across the road, and Chaz or Joe have to get out and haul it bodily away so that you can keep moving. By the time you reach the camp, which previously only took you a short 15 minutes, easily an hour or more has passed. You park along the side of it, and you know that somewhere around here, according to the map, one of those waterproof ones that you have sprawled across the dash, the military camp should be just a few, couple hundred meters walk through the brush off towards your left-hand side from here. However, there is no clear sign of a marked path, nor should there be. It was a hidden camp.
Excellent.
Muted, Jim.
You muted.
Excellent, thank you. Sorry.
Perfect.
I think we need to scout it real quick. So maybe does someone want to sneak up with me? I don't think it's any sense us all traipsing out. Maybe some of us stay with the car, make sure the wheels don't sink into the mud, keep it ready to go, and then we quickly scout, see if it's worth us all going in.
Yeah. No, let's do it. I'll go with you.
I will
All right.
not. I am not stealthy.
I will also not. I cannot walk super well. I'm also just not
Yeah.
stealthy.
All right,
Okay.
Actually, I'm
everyone
not too
with
bad.
fully functional limbs, let's go.
All right.
I imagine
Two invalids in the
Chaz
car.
and Katie in the front
Yeah.
seat, both like sliding out. And for a moment, when the doors open, there's just like rain gets thrown inside. You can all hear the cutting wind, and then it slams back shut. And Seb and Joe, it's relatively quiet. Just the drip, drip, drip of water leaking through the roof. You
I'm gonna point to the
two head off
driver's seat.
into
I'm
the
gonna
woods.
point to the driver's seat and be like, "You might want to relocate to there just in case we got to make a quick exit."
All right. I'll like
What is your drive?
base 20.
Actually, Joe will climb over and be like,
Yeah.
"I think I got this."
Yeah. I'll slide into the front seat then,
Yeah.
so that these two can jump in the back if they need to and go and drive. I will look at Joe as like we're resettling ourselves and just go,
This might need someone to help with the steering.
yeah.
Change the gears and yeah, it's good. It's good.
I really hope those two make it out alive.
Well, yeah, obviously. Like reaching back to get my shotgun at the same time, and I mean, like the odds on all of us are not good.
No, but well, I'm sure you've seen them.
Well, look, if anybody, honestly, every single day, Katie surprises me with how much of a fucking badass she actually is. And Chaz is cool too.
She could do worse.
The two of you like talk.
You can find a
after you
stick of
see
dynamite and be like, "Oh,
You see Chaz and Katie like vanish into the underbrush, and you begin to wait. Both of you just unconsciously tracking the time by tapping it out nervously on your shoulder or just drumming a rhythm into the dashboard. Outside it's pitch black. The engine has been stopped, and you can hear clearly the sounds of trees occasionally cracking under the pressure of the wind, or is that them coming to life and moving to act against you? At several key
No, they're
points,
not.
you see something cutting through the clouds above you. Can I get both of you to make spot hidden rolls, please?
Oh, dearie me.
what am I good at? Not this."
Do we don't have to in the car, do we?
No, this is you two. This is you two. So,
Yeah, this is
Seven
us
Joe.
sitting in the
Sorry.
car
Oh,
being
shit,
like,
okay.
Oh,
because we're
okay,
just
well,
sitting
Sorry,
on our,
not
sitting on our
Chaz
fucking
and Katie.
thumbs.
We'll come back to you guys.
Okay, perfect. 'Cause
Yeah.
I failed mine, so that suits.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Was that you spending luck, Alex?
Nope.
Or failing? Okay, all right.
No,
It's okay,
I feel,
it's okay, it's okay. Several points you see shapes cutting through the sky above you, but it could just be
Nah.
rain, it could just be just debris being flung about in the cutting wind, and it's you're not sure exactly. That said, you're on edge, and several times you'll hear a bang, and both of you start suddenly and look around as like a branch or something has impacted the side of the truck and gone skidding away into the unknown. Minutes pass, and then it begins to draw longer, and the other two still have not returned.
I would like to, if this is all right with Joe, it can be off camera, but Seb would like to just kind of start asking Jo about her family and her life and her history and who she is as a person, and kind of also share stuff about like his upbringing and his existence, and kind of to try and ground both him and I guess Jo, but more himself, like just in memories of normalcy.
Shit.
Yeah. And would like to, again, doesn't need to be on camera because I don't think backstory at this point is really relevant, but you know, just having that little like, so you know, tell me about yourself, like who, you know, where'd you come from, what do your parents do, what do you you know, you're obviously
and Jo's got some interesting stories because she's, you know, half American, half Australian, grew up in remote Australia and hence the shotgun proficiencies, and has got some interesting stories.
You talk for a little while, sharing stories and just trying to pass the time nervously, looking back and forth, and waiting for the others to return.
For enough time to pass for us to be a bit suspicious and go after them.
Yeah,
we're not just going to sit there all night and be like, it's done now.
Oh no.
So far it still seems completely in keeping with their march back and forth, but it's drawing longer with every passing beat. Okay. Going across now to Chaz and Katie. As soon as you leave the truck, bam, drenched completely. What little drying had happened on the route has just cut straight through, and the sort of like woolen clothes you have underneath the coats to try and keep back the actual cold are immediately soaked and hanging loose underneath it. Any weaponry you're carrying is covered with like oiled sacks and things so that they aren't immediately drenched, and your munitions are kept in small, like almost like Ziploc style bags jammed into pockets and things. Katie, I imagine you have a backpack or something slung over with some rudimentary first aid rope, things like that, and Chaz has the weaponry with him as you both break under the brush and begin to head up looking for the hidden camp. At this point, can I get one of you to make either a navigation roll or a track or something similar to see if you can locate this hidden encampment?
I have neither of those. How are you, Katie?
I got a little navigate. I can give it a shot. Let me try it out, and I will start desperately trying to spot where we need to go. And it's
It's like the alphabet. When you said a little bit of navigate,
I
Jim rolled very well one session and added a detail.
You walk, and I've been riding that high ever since.
You walk for a little while and you remember what Morrison told you. There were going to be small, like, markers that would show you the way that seem to have either been just destroyed intentionally or just gutted by the wind and rain, and they're completely missing. At one point you find one, but looking around, you're not sure you're on the right path, and it's loose, flapping against a tree, and it doesn't seem like you're in the right direction. You can keep searching, but it's just going to take you longer and longer. That said, it's not a massive area, and you think you're close enough. It's just a commitment of time.
I think we should let's commit the time, but I reckon we go back to the others briefly to just say we don't know where it is. We're gonna do a more detailed look. We don't want them to get panicked.
You'll have to go all the way back through. At this point, you'll almost add the time again if you go all the way back. And
I don't like it. I think we got it this far out. I don't see the point in turning back. You know.
Let's do it quick then. Let's get going.
All right.
Okay. You continue to just canvass the area. I mean, Katie, you have a background in archaeology, and or was it archaeology? I know it was the geology when you did the
archaeology
digging.
is a skill if I can use that. Yeah.
No roll needed at this point. It's just committing the time, but it sort of harkens back to earlier on when you first came to the dig site near Cobb's Corners, and you very strategically began to mark things out in grids and work your way forward, strategically marking off the map until you can hammer it down. First, you pinpoint exactly where you are by, looking around and looking for some sort of marker, and then you begin to head towards again where you think the camp should be. Takes a while, another sort of 20 minutes or so moving through the dark, when it's Chaz that spots a tent, camouflage, sort of like ruddy green, that has been torn asunder, all of the poles and pegs broken, and is currently up against a tree, flapping against it. You must be close now.
All right. Well, I mean, we're getting closer. If the Migo came by here and tore up the camp, what would the survivors be doing? They wouldn't want to stay out here in this mess, would they? They probably would have left.
If these tents are already going, I mean, even just a storm might be enough to disrupt the logistics of getting these people to help us. We've got explosives. We've got a mission. There's no where we haven't come here and we haven't found a party of highly armed mercenaries ready to jump in. Even if we find people, I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah,
I reckon we cut our losses. Let's make it back.
Yeah, I'm thinking that if they survive, they wouldn't be staying out here, and if they're staying out here, they won't want to be found, and we're gonna have a hard time finding them.
Let's head back to the others.
Oh well. Well, hold on. We still got the couple of guys in town. Remember?
That could be important down the road.
Yeah. We'll talk to the others. Maybe we want to go back to Cobb's Corners, see if we can link up with them.
I think if we're going into Cobb's Corners, we're going to get sucked into everything that's happening there. I think Migo base, ditch these explosives. If we make it out alive, we'll get to Cobb's Corners.
To be continued in the car. All right. Let's get out.
Right.
Let's stop getting drenched.
Okay. You grab, sort of shoulder your gear after having crouched down near a bush to have this short conversation, stand up and make your way back. Cutting a clear path back towards the car now, or as clear as you can get, still requires a lot of avoiding tracks and things and finding your way through, slipping at points as you come down a sharp incline. You will see more signs of debris, like torn pieces of fabric from tents and things, the occasional peg or piece of rope that's been flung a long distance, and also strange gaps between points of the trees where there's like a little open section where possibly a tent was laid down or something, but has completely vanished from here. Katie, can I once again get you to make a navigate roll for the return?
Again?
Okay, and with that,
Dave,
as
you knew this was gonna happen. What are you doing to us?
with that, as you come back through, you'll find yourselves along, like, there's an embankment that goes down quite steeply towards where the car is. You've gotten slightly turned around, but you're looking at the road below, and in the distance you can see the car parked barely once you can make it out, a black dot amongst the black night. Going down here, you'll need to make a climb roll or divert around and head back down towards the vehicle.
Look, you know me. Normally I'm happy to have a go at climbing, but in this weather, with the beating we've already taken, I think take it slow and steady. What do you think?
All right, let's go the long way then.
Okay. All right. You begin to make your way down.
That's
yeah, very true.
Doesn't jump down cliffs anymore.
And also not with Katie. The two of you begin to make your way quite slowly around the side, picking your way along the edge and through the brush and down towards Seb and Joe. You will re-emerge in just a moment, but first let's just check in on Joe and Seb, as it has been quite some time since the others have returned. You've been trying to keep an eye out, but it's past the period that a straight shot back and forth should have taken. You're well aware that in the wind and rain it'll be hard to find it, but this is long enough that, like, just exposure to these elements is possibly going to risk injury or illness.
I think they got lost.
I think you're right. I don't think I am.
No, you're good now.
Cool.
Minor delay.
No, I was just mumbling. Going after them doesn't seem sensible, given that all I can currently do, I have already done. If they run into something, at least they have a bit of extra. They have some thicker skin.
And if we go out there and leave the car and we get lost and they come back and we're not here, like, this could just turn into a comedy. I mean, really.
Let's give them.
Do we have any? I hate the suggestion, but do we have any flares or anything? I don't really want to draw attention to us, but if
You
they're
do. Chaz found a box of them. They'll be with you.
and flares will be waterproof enough because they're usually designed for ships.
I mean, we can also just turn the car on. It has headlights.
Yeah, that's true.
There's headlight, and
It
even
has
that
a
one's kind
headlight. Yeah,
It's-
I'll give it. I reckon we give it another couple of minutes, and
If you
then
want to at
headlight.
least start the car, and then they'll might be able to pick us out a little easier. If they're still not back in 10-15 minutes, then we can reevaluate what we're gonna do. But I mean, I'm sure you're still perfectly capable of getting around in the wet and the damp and the uneven terrain, I am going to struggle, and I don't really.
The question was who can move quietly, and I really can't.
I'm actually not terrible at moving quietly. It's more just, the moving that's the difficult thing without some kind of additional support. And you're gonna need your singular arm to climb things, so I can't exactly hold on to it. So.
Oh no, I need that.
Yeah,
it's doubled in value.
Weird suggestion.
I
don't know if this is even possible, but this stuff, and Seb will point to like the because he also still has thickened skin. If possible, I would like his thickened skin to also kind of look like a raised, sort of veiny hardening. But the veins for Seb, if you look really closely, almost resemble alchemical symbols.
Yeah,
somewhat. Yeah. Kind of. Like, you could look at it and be like, it's like looking at clouds. Oh, that's maybe that's a dog. Maybe it's a cloud. Just a cloud, nothing more. I feel like there's more to this stuff than just, thickening skin.
Right.
I can't promise anything. I also can't promise it won't drive me to literal insanity, but if we survive,
big if,
and if we don't go mad,
bigger if,
and if I can find something,
I mean, if anybody can, it's you.
Would you want your arm back?
Not that way, no.
Okay, just checking.
Respectfully,
understood.
No.
I just thought, I'd offer. Although...
Yeah, no, I'm good actually. Look, I feel like it's one of those things that eventually I'm gonna probably have to check myself in somewhere and figure out how to deal with this. But I'm actually doing okay. Like it wasn't my dominant hand, and I'm actually like it's fine. Well, it's not fine, obviously, but it's I'm coping.
You'll if you do check yourself in somewhere, is it presumptuous of me to offer possibly the best care affordable for that?
Absolutely not, and I will remember that.
So,
my family is not wealthy, and I have no shame about taking Seb's wealth.
And so Seb's just gonna be like, and Seb, in full knowledge of what he's saying, goes, well, I mean, my mother is a doctor.
Hey, everybody drink.
As you were having this conversation, Joe started the car, and unfortunately the headlight didn't turn on. You had to sort of get out and head towards the front to make an adjustment, see if you could get it going. Seb, as Joe's moving around, you're sort of like flexing your fingers, feeling the stiffness in them, and you're remembering when you were sort of casting that spell to augment the others and begin to send up the like muscles and begin to swell the mass around them, and you could almost feel like the beckoning of the absent arm, where you could draw it anew from it, new growth that could swell from underneath the skin and break the bone to rise again. Then suddenly Joe hits it once more, and there's a clack, 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 and the light flashes on, and two dark figures are standing in the road directly before you, drenched and strangely contorted faces clashed in the light, and Chaz and Katie return to join you all.
Hi. Muted, Jim.
Muted.
Sorry, frog in my throat.
Again,
let me wind down the window real quick. What was that?
Yeah. Couldn't find anything. It's all.
Get in the car. Get in the car. Come on, get inside.
Get in the car.
We found some pieces of a tent, so probably no good.
All right. Well,
And if anyone did survive, we ain't gonna find them in this.
All right.
let's go.
Let's go blow up the Mego.
Straight to
Wait,
Metro base.
Well, here's the thing. One topic to broach here. Remember, we sent a couple of the guys into town to keep an eye on the plaza.
Yeah, but didn't we hear that there's like doing a harvest, which we kind of worked out as a human sacrifice? I don't want to get embroiled in that until we've sorted out the
not
shit that we're here to do.
embroiled, it's
We're
just,
gonna
you know.
get embroiled with it. I mean, really, if they're doing human sacrifice shit,
Put it this
then-
way. If they're doing bad shit in cops' corners, then the men that we sent there are almost certainly already dead.
Or
And
you know
if
what?
they're-
They've seen it and they're doing their best to help, which I wouldn't want to take them away from that.
And if they're
Yeah.
not already dead, they'll still be there when we get back.
Yeah. All right. No. Yep. You sold me.
Let's head to the Migo base. We've got these explosives. We get in as deep as we can. We plant everything, and we hope that we can make it out to deal with the other crisis down the road.
Yeah.
That's great. We got
Let's go kill some
itinerary.
Migo.
Seb, do you
Joe's
want to
gotten
take
the
over
car
driving,
started.
or-
I actually do. I have the best drive. I've got 35.
I think you might genuinely be the best driver, Joe. You might want to take over and just go ham.
Yep. Go hand.
Okay. All right. Joe stays in the front. It's taken you a moment to sort of get used to basically you're going slow enough that you can either take your hand off to shift gears or
Yeah.
just drive in the lowest gear the whole time, or get whoever's in the
Well,
passenger seat to shift
if
them
we're-
for you.
We're gonna drive slowly because it's disgusting out there. So, yeah, probably just first and second. I don't really know
Okay.
how cars in the 30s rode. So first or second.
Works for me. Okay.
Also, if
and with that, you'll begin to
necessary-
slowly make your way north.
If necessary, Seb can always lean over and just
Yes.
hold the steering wheel
Yeah.
straight
Level while I'm changing,
while
yeah.
you change, because that's
Yeah.
Seb does know how to drive a car, but
He just doesn't because
No.
he's got people to do it for him.
yes.
Okay. You drive along, taking it slowly around these winding sort of corners and making your way out towards Broken Hill, where the base will be. This drive will take quite some time, and you'll need to settle in for the duration. And once you get close towards the hill itself, you're going to actually have to ascend it on those tight and winding roads that will now have been completely chewed away by the storm. For the general journey, Joe, can you please make a drive auto test and take a bonus die because you're going slow, but...
And I'm getting help. Sort of. Aww.
Okay.
You're fired
it's
from car duty.
I know.
It's slow going, and the first obstacle you hit is quite soon in your journey. There is the bridge that goes straight across the river. It's a little like one of those wooden covered ones, but the roof has been busted in slightly. You can see a couple of planks rattling against the other side. Wind runs in, and the water is just about to start breaking across this one as well. The whole thing sort of bulges and twists a little bit. You can hear it almost like screaming wood in the darkness, and as you get towards it and the beams catch across it, this is a risk to cross. However, if you do not bring the car across through here, the march on foot will take you ages. You almost have to do it if you plan to get to the base tonight.
Could we do something like...
I hate this.
I agree. Could we do something like get out of the car, on foot cross the bridge with rope, try and tie some anchors that we can like help to
Yep.
guide the car across?
Yeah.
I shook my head. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe there's one person in the car to steer it.
yeah. And,
I'll
you know,
do
even-
that because again, dexterity dodge high. It's although it
Yeah.
would probably be a jump thing if
Okay.
if the
So-
bridge breaks. So maybe is anyone got good jump?
I think I do.
Jumpy?
No.
30? I mean,
That's a bit higher than base.
Actually, maybe Chaz.
I think that Chaz and Joe, if we need people to pull a very large
Yeah.
chunk of metal, are going
Yeah.
to be the best people to make sure that that thing moves.
I'm actually not that strong anymore.
let
It's
me.
true.
I got my guts sucked out. Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, I'll drive it. I'll stay in the car and drive.
You drive it. I'll go on the other side with Chaz, and we'll try and pull and guide as best we can.
I will assist with the keeping the car
You
straight.
can get out of the car because you've got no chance of getting out if this goes to shit.
I
We have
genuinely
got a reasonable chance.
probably gonna be safer in the car
Yeah.
because I can't do anything outside it. I'm probably better off trying to help give you a bonus to steer and maintain.
I
on
mean,
course.
if it goes to shit and it breaks, I've actually got a reasonable chance of getting out the car.
I have full hit points.
Oh, never mind then. Yeah, hang out.
It's probably a terrible. No, technically, what I have is 11 magic points. Is what I've got.
Yeah, all right.
I don't actually look at my health as health anymore. I'm like, oh no, magic.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
So-
no, we're good. We're fine. We're sweet. I'm confident.
Joe parks the
it's-
car facing across the bridge, and you can see the light again clacking. Sometimes Seb stays seated next to her, and Chaz and Katie get out of the back, just get into the rain once more. You grab a couple of ropes, and you'll tie them on to like the bull bar at the front of the truck, and then with one slung over each of your shoulders, you'll begin to ford the bridge to the other side. It's
I think
splintered
we don't need either
and
of us in it,
jagged
do
wood.
we? We don't need either of us in it. Can we just like tie the steering wheel in a straight
You'll
line?
need to still be driving it forward if
Okay.
you're going to want to try and
Yep,
cross
sure.
over.
Noted.
Chaz and Katie, given that you're taking time, you're able to push forward through it, but the water's up against, like, you know, halfway up your calf at this point. You can see it pushing against you, and you have one arm placed against the other wall, making sure you don't get swept across into just the black, rushing water underneath you, and making towards the other side.
This whole thing. Yes, it's water. And there's a legit storm. Is there any eldritch influence to what's going on right now?
Would you like to make mostly to be natural world, reading into the storm. You could try Cthulhu Mythos, but it's pretty specific. Natural world would more be, is this a storm event?
Well, my Cthulhu Mythos is better than my natural world, and I am specifically
If it's different
looking for-
information, and it's gonna be...
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I'm looking. I'm actually looking for. I think Cthulhu Mythos is what I want out of this.
Sure. Okay. Yep. Go for it.
Unless you're telling me I can't, and then
you can. No, you can roll, but it's gonna be very specific information. Go for it. You might as well try. Okay. Mythos events. Something could bring something. Mythos worship could bring about natural events. But you're unable to tell the exact scale of it or what it's been built upon, nor draw more connections beyond that. So feasible, yes. Certain, you're not.
cool. The
It just seemed
reason
to
I
come out of nowhere.
ask is I do have something that protects us from eldritch influences. I don't know, I'm just like, can I Moses this shit? Not completely.
It does not,
like, can I,
it does not appear to be
this is
stopping
shit.
the running water here. No. And you might grab a hand around it, and it gives you some confidence, certainly, but it is not enough to completely break what is a massive natural event, possibly triggered by something else, but it is not enough to push this to a stop.
Well,
Chaz
I
and Katie, you
wasted
both
my
get to
cool.
the other side. And you're able to lash a rope around the tree. And from here, you can haul on it to give Jo assistance. She makes her way across. Can I get one of you to make a strength test with a bonus dice? And if you can succeed a hard test or greater, Jo will get another bonus dice on her pushed roll.
Nice.
Yay.
Do you want to make the strength checks, Katie, or shall I?
Chaz.
I think it is much better if you do it.
I've done some Easter. I don't mind if you want it. That's fine. Okay.
Oh, he's good. He's so good.
Please, so
Can I take the
Damn.
bonus dice?
Oh,
All right.
I don't need it. No,
Okay.
don't want that.
Okay, awesome. Jo,
No,
you could
I
bump two
guess
for an
so, yeah.
extreme.
I reckon
Will
bumping.
an extreme help me more?
We'll give a second bonus dice. Yeah, this is Chaz basically completely hauling a truck through a swept river. Would you like to do so, Jackson, or you want to hold that for later when things get even worse?
2 points. I think it's worth it.
How much luck do you have?
13.
Ooh,
I don't want to stay on 13 luck. That's a bad idea. Yeah, better take it.
thank you.
Okay.
Also, it
All
does
right.
mean we have a usable car full of explosives and not a unusable car full of explosives or
And 2 corpses.
a hole
It's true.
and no more explosives.
All right, Jo, go ahead and make a drive auto test. You have 2 bonus dice.
Does Joe not get one for me?
Oh yeah,
'Cause
fair.
I was-
I stand corrected.
All right, we have stacked everything we can on this. If we can't get this car across the bridge, we don't
Another one
deserve.
more?
You have one. You have
Maybe
one
one.
more. And that's
Oi!
exactly a success. Okay.
Amazing.
It.
And you can
As soon
check
as
your
you-
drive auto skill.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you for reminding
As soon
me.
as the car gets onto it, it begins to be swept along towards the other side. And if the full weight of the truck is rested against one of these walls, it will undoubtedly punch through it, fall into the river, and the two of you will be swept downstream. Getting out of a car underwater will be incredibly difficult, and you will almost certainly be killed. But Chaz on the other side, with the rope braced against a tree, is hauling his full back into it to give it just enough of an angle on one of the tires to haul it away from it, and the back wheels spin to get you around and across the other side, where eventually it re-emerges into the mud and the muck afar. The bridge did not immediately collapse behind you, but you heard splintering and bracing as you went through. You'd be cautious to cross it again. Chaz and Katie can re-enter the car, and you can continue on your way.
And Joey's green by this point. She's like, oh, I hate this.
All right.
Okay.
Well, on we go.
Yeah, drive on
Hello,
forward
Chaz.
through the rain.
All right. From here, it's a drive along one of the more structured roads, and then you'll hit sort of like I don't want to say highway, but it's got paving at points, and then cut down towards Broken Hill. There are two routes you can take here. One is the route that you took previously, up towards it when you were at the dig site, and the second is via Agnes Bellwether's house, the last time you cut up and along there, when you came to meet with her only the other day. Either way, it will take you several hours, although Bellwether's is a slightly longer detour.
Shortest way.
There was a river going near the dig site, and that's probably flooded.
Oh.
There are
see?
rivers all throughout sections of this
Oh, okay.
area, but yes, absolutely. No, it's a good point.
Do we know which the driest and therefore the potentially safest
Part of the dig
route?
site, though, is you are kind of familiar with the area, because you have been there previously.
And also Agnes isn't there.
But I'm
Yeah,
doing this.
we also have information about that hidden shrine.
But the dig site.
Yeah.
What?
I think the dig site. Let's do the dig site then. We know that area, and we did. I mean, and we know the Migo have presence there. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
So
All right.
Agnes Bellwether is no longer an ally.
I don't know if she was ever an ally. She did some
the-
weird shit with we told you. When we got back,
No,
right?
you just
Didn't
told me
we?
I needed to get in the car and come and speak to someone out in the middle of a forest.
Yeah, it sounds like something we'd said.
It sounds
We
right.
spoke to
yeah.
Agnes. She was loosely aware of what was going on, and seemed to be very convinced in how practices of, I guess, witchcraft could protect her. I don't think she's aligned with these things, but I think that she probably has an interest in old magics that are, look. We've already got two parties. I don't want to try and think of what the world looks like if we're trying to balance three.
Yeah.
Frankly,
Yeah,
Agnes is
like,
at us.
I was trying to be nice to her, and she pinched me hard enough to draw blood, and then showed me some weird fucking vision of Salem witch bullshit.
Yeah, it's not
Not a
ally,
friend.
but nothing to worry about really. I don't think. I think she's a
Horrible.
bit of a neutral party for the moment.
Hated it.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back to this, but okay.
Given that, let's take the dig site and get moving.
Okay. You drive up along the track that most recently Katie descended at high speed in a bus, only to impale itself on a tree after Clarissa and some of the others were attacked by strange things on the route. As you go back up it, you remember the last time you ascended when Joe Harlow, in his old sort of beaten up truck, took you up this way and began to show you the sights, and you saw on occasions strange pulsing flashes out in the trees and around you. On this journey, there are no flashes. In fact, there's hardly anything to see at all. It's pitch black, and the moon above you is completely obfuscated by cement-thick clouds. Joe is driving, similar to Katie now, peering over the steering wheel and occasionally stopping completely to readjust positioning and head up. Every move you make, you are aware that only a foot or so to your right is a cut in the road, which then just descends down into trees and the valley beneath. And if you make a wrong move here, you will slide and ground will give way and you will all tumble back down towards Cobb's Corners below. But you're moving cautiously, and by the time another maybe 3 or even 4 hours have passed, you're beginning to get up towards the point where this car can go no further. You stop it and Joe pulls up the handbrake and you're looking out. This is the point where previously you all left and holstered bags and things and made the walk up towards the dig site. But the entrance, in theory, is even further beyond this. You could attempt to continue driving, but to do so is risky and possibly losing. You might even move slower with the car.
Yeah, nah.
Let's park it somewhere safe.
Load up.
Grab guns,
Um,
a bag of those explosives each, and get going.
So a note about the explosives. They are each about, reasonable keg size and coated in things. Anyone that takes more than one is going to be risking, it's quite something to lug around, and they're fairly heavy. Additionally, any sudden movements or failed rolls or things like that might risk the bags tearing and exposing these things to the water outside. You'll want to be careful moving them.
With Chaz is a strong fella. Can he take 2?
Chaz, would you like to grab 2?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You swing one up over each shoulder, and you can feel them digging a little bit into your shoulders, but once you readjust them, you get a bit of rhythm going. Beyond that, you also, I think, are carrying a rifle and a shotgun, Chaz, and maybe a box of flares.
You're going to look so cool.
And my club. What do you call it? Not a club. What's it
You
called?
got that in the belt?
The cudgel, yeah.
Cudgel. Yeah. I got everything.
Yeah.
I'm your go-to man.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Chaz steps to the side, loaded to the gills.
But a little bit of something for everyone.
Oh, good. I'll take one of the explosives. I've got my sawn off pocket full of ammo, and I will have any of the smaller explosives, like any dynamite fuses. If there's a grenade, I'm partial to grenades. That sort of, any of the smaller stuff with my shotgun and shells and a bag of the big fellas.
Awesome. You're tapped on grenades, unfortunately, but you can have a small, dry bag underneath your coat on your left-hand side with all of the accoutrement you'll need to trigger the explosives. On your right-hand side, the side that still has the arm, you have the shotgun slung under a sling, as well as a box of ammunition and things. So, yeah, sorry, that's right. So you can draw it if things go poorly. And on your back, there is the explosive. Actually, you might even be, front bagging it so that you can keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't get bumped into things.
Yeah, and so I can just pull it out.
Like a hiker abroad worried about pickpockets.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got lots of pockets in my coats. I've probably got ammo in those. And,
the things. Seb and Katie, is there anything particular you're grabbing? Notably, the tomes, are they coming with you? Have they been left at the farmhouse, or are they in a relatively secure bag in the...
So that's actually a good point. I mentioned that I think Katie is in the point of surrendering tomes, so might have... did you bring them into the car, do you think, Seb?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's no way I was leaving those behind.
In which case...
They either need to be safe in the boot if we think we can get back to the car, and if we don't, then they will be... I will grab a waterproof satchel, because I assume they had some, and they will be in there, and I will be carrying those in a satchel / backpack / something.
Each of those books are fairly heavy, and additionally they're that older paper which any water will begin to damage. Even just the friction of them together risks it. It's still possibly the best idea, and I imagine Seb takes any time to wrap them in other clothing and things to kind of protect them, but you're just aware you're basically taking artifacts, water vulnerable artifacts out into the storm. That said, what other choice do you have?
Yeah, I will wrap them, wrap each of the books in. Was there did we have sort of wet weather gear, lightweight sort of water repellent coats and things like that?
Yeah.
If so,
jackets would be.
I will have, if there were any left in the farmhouse, I would have taken a knife to one of those and cut, essentially, butcher's paper-esque to bundle the books up. And if I can have found a waterproof satchel, I will put them in there. If I can't find a waterproof satchel, and we're not taking all the explosives, I will remove one of the less finished explosives and put the books in there and leave that one in the car.
You'll have a couple of extra satchels that you kind of grabbed, and they are worthwhile. They are serviceable. You're fine to carry them. It'll just be if you risk exposing them, if something happens, if you refer to them during the storm, anything like that. For the time being, they'll be okay.
That's fine. Most of the stuff I need to refer to is in my pocketbook anyway, which is a much more modern piece of, writing stuff. So that's a little bit easier to keep dry.
Okay. So Seb is like slung with tomes and things all across, and then the explosive.
I don't actually. Do I want to carry an explosive? There's 4 entrances.
There's 5.
I think everybody should. I
There's
think
5
everybody.
entrances.
Although,
Do we know about 3 of 5 or 4 of 5 then?
You know 4 of them. You know approximately
okay.
what the way into them is. One of them has been fully scouted. The 5th, you have no idea where it comes or goes, and it's also just based on what Trent has told you. Not Trent, but
Yeah.
oh mate.
Not Trent.
Katie.
I would like to just say quickly, if I spot Seb packing tomes into a waterproof bag, I am going to nip over, and with my little bundle of notes from my own cobbled together grimoire, I might say, if you're putting together tomes, taking care of it, maybe, do you want to take this? It's got everything that happened, and it might be good for it to stay safe.
Thank you, Katie. I'll make sure it stays safe, and I'll make sure it gets back to you.
Okay.
Wrap it up and put it in with the others. I will say, in terms of like the tomes that I have, the main one that I had on me was Nameless Cults. I don't mind whether, like, that's the one I definitely had on me. I'm fine if you're like, you don't have the others, because I don't know that I was really studying any of the others.
No, I presumed you had all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, Seb's whole thing.
You would have had to pointedly
as if
leave
you would have
them
left them
behind at
behind.
that
Yeah, no, I absolutely would not. So I've got any of the tomes that we've got, but just like, the most important ones to me are the Nameless Cults and now Katie's Grimoire. Those are the 2 that I will care the most about. The others I will still wrap and make sure they're fine, but when push comes to shove, if you're like, oh, you only managed to wrap like 2 of them real good, it's those 2.
Noted.
Yeah.
Katie, you grab some first aid equipment as well as your own. I think you're carrying a firearm as well, right?
Yes, I have a pistol, but it's not heavy ordnance.
Is there anything else of note you want to flag?
I mean, no. I think the basic gear. I've got one of the satchels, cudgel. I'm pretty solidly set. If I mentioned I have my standard satchel that I've been carrying around with like some medical, and then when I took a bunch of survival and stuff, like updated with some survival equipment. But it's not like I'm not packing a full tent.
Makes sense. Okay. So yeah, you've got some rudimentary things you wouldn't be wanting to camp out here, but if push comes to shove, you'll probably have something on hand.
Is there a decent-sized branch lying around?
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot. Yep.
Great. I will pick up one of those. Again, purely for flavor. Can I pull out the cane top? It's got those little searchy bits already on it. I'm gonna just like hold it to the top of the branch, and just like watch them kind of grip in and like break into the top. So I've just got something to use as a walking stick again, so I don't have to fucking worry about holding on to someone's arm. This is not permanent. I don't intend it to be like, oh, this now can't be separated. It's
Yeah, hell yeah.
Just
it just holds the 2 pieces together.
It's just
Awesome.
so I can have something to walk with, essentially, and it be comfortable.
And with the stuff produced, everyone loaded up, you head out of the car, leaving it sort of off the side in the most secure section you can find at least. Each of you sort of click on torches and give around a hammer or 2 to make sure the batteries find contact. And then with these 4 yellow training beams, you begin to scout out a path up towards the dig site, and then in theory beyond the Migo base. You begin to walk in single file, heading up, and your ears drowned by the rain, carefully picking your way through. At this point, I'm going to need someone to make a navigation roll. Another one person can assist if they wish, and then everyone else flag what you're doing if you're keeping an eye out for people coming closer, if you're assisting others to make sure they don't fall, or anything else.
I have above base navigate, so I'm happy to make that roll.
In that case, Chaz will keep an eye on Katie. She doesn't fall over anything.
Okay. So
you'll take. Yes, you'll take a bonus dice regardless as well because you have the map which Morrison put together. So you'll take this with 2 bonus dice.
Okay.
All of your 12 points.
Here we go. I'm only going to need 1. Ooh.
14 points.
14's a lot.
That's a lot.
Do you even have it?
That is a lot.
Don't have 14 points.
That's all right. Slow and steady. Let's take our time.
God. We're going to get lost in here.
You move around and you begin to clamber your way up. It takes quite a while, and you don't reach the dig site in the time you expected. By the time you stop to take a break, resting underneath a tree and looking out across the valley below, you think you may have gone past the dig site and now be higher above it, and instead will hopefully just push on and find the base itself while avoiding it entirely. Seb, you've carried a pocket watch in the past, right? I think you had a pocket watch of your father's or something? If not, it seems in keeping.
No, that's Pulp Fiction. I have definitely said that I had like a torch on me before, and in the past, on stream, I have worn a wristwatch as part of Seb's attire. So I would say yes, he has some kind of timepiece on him, almost certainly.
As you're all stopping it and looking down around it, you sort of like unfurl the watch and have a look over it. Water's forming droplets along the glass surface, and according to it should be sometime around 6:30, pushing towards 7, and you expect to see the sun beginning to rise soon. However, in the distance, it seems to refuse to break. The clouds completely obscure any rising sun, and no light filters to the ground below.
How long has it been since the farmhouse?
Maybe about 6 hours now.
Delightful. I have a lot of magic points back. Huzzah!
Oh, that's I guess the plus.
Yeah, I'm being like, let's take a while. In my readings, do I think it is unreasonable that bullshit like the night not stopping and stuff like actual time is going to matter here?
Your watch seems to continue to click forward, and beyond stopping, to stop the rising sun seems almost impossible, even to your musings, although who knows what happens when you tamper with the mythos. For it to simply be obfuscated by thick black clouds seems much more likely. Although, you can't help but think, maybe.
Seb is going to keep that to himself for the time being.
Thank you.
Yeah. Although, if there's an opportunity to speak to Katie away from the other two for nothing more than they're a little touchy right now, I may do that. But otherwise, no. Seb notes it, notes how much time has passed, flexes his fingers, feeling like that sort of, he feels a bit more whole, for want of a better term. We'll continue forward.
Katie's finished sort of looking over the map and thinks you know approximately where you are. You think you're above the dig site, and if you keep pushing forward, you'll hopefully find the river, and then you can follow it up towards where the base should be. You can sort of like fold it up, and you'll stir everyone back into motion, continuing up. After a short walk, a short walk, but a long time, after 15-20 minutes or so of breaking through brush, you begin to hear the rushing river, although it takes you a little bit longer to find it. When you eventually do, you'll find yourself standing over a sort of like a shallow embankment with stones and rocks and general debris, and the river, which was previously... the first time you saw it was reasonably calm. Then when it began to rain that one night, it got fairly heavy. this has gone beyond that. It is as if it is the mountain is vomiting water down the hillside, rocketing it out at great pace, and you can hear it forming rapids and striking stones as it carries down. Up above, a tree finally cracks and begins to fall down, and is immediately spun and twisted along before it hits a rock midway through it, and all but evaporates into splinters cast around. This river would be almost impossible to cross and quite dangerous if you fell inside it. But from here, Katie, you believe if you follow this up, you should eventually find where it comes forth from the mountain, and above that should be the entrance to the base you're looking for.
Okay.
Is that
All right. Well,
is that like knocking on the front door?
I don't.
This
think we have
is
much more-
the most scouted entrance, yes. You don't know if it's the front door, but it's the one that was known of first.
I don't know if we have many other options here. Trudging through, trying to find another one. I think we're lucky we haven't just stumbled, gotten lost, fallen in a river, and be carried downstream into another state. I think we go.
I think time is going to start becoming a problem if we continue to
Oh no, I just.
bugger about in the woods.
Oh, I agree. It was more just. You know, if this is the front door, we just want to be prepared for that. You know.
Yeah.
You're Chaz. You just hang on. Let me wind the window down.
I wonder how long I've been muted for. Oh, we're prepared. We spend weeks, we spend months getting prepared. It all built up to this, all right? So, you know, I don't want anybody out here thinking, oh, what if we should have done this? What if we should have done that? Well, guess what? We're here now, all right? So everybody's going to put those thoughts behind you, because everything we've done, it builds up to here, right? This is where we got to, and this is what we got. We got weapons. We got knowledge. We got a good heckin'
A
team
wizard.
here. We got a wizard. They don't have a wizard, I bet.
Plus, those things, they die. You whack them with a stick hard enough. We've seen them die now, and
It's
That is
true.
worth remembering. Do I have any further information about the Miko than what we already know about them in my times of studying them? Or is pretty much we're still working on the basis of shooting them ain't gonna do jack, smacking them across the face will probably do something?
You know, they're masters of bioengineering. They seem to be able to take different forms, specifically crafted for different reasons. You've encountered 2 such types at least. You think there may be more. Some are much hardier soldiers, which are much more dangerous. The standard vanilla one, the one that Katie kicked the shit out of, seems to be more manageable. She took it down with a shot and then a fairly strong, from a cudgel. Bludgeoning weapons is the way to go.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, let's lay it out. The explosives are here for destroying the base. So once we
Yes.
get inside, I hate suggesting it, but we really need to kind of split out and look for those entrances as quickly as possible.
Do we
Have a
to
meeting point, and not immediately, but if we reach a junction, I think in advance,
We have.
finding as many entrances and blowing the shit out of it is what's
I
going to
think
kill this thing.
let's leave splitting up as a last resort. If we can't get through safely and efficiently,
Expediently.
or at least groups of 2 if we
Yeah.
have to. I'm all for going when we need to go, but I'd like to make sure, you know, people are not on their own on the off chance,
Yeah.
you know, you just kind of forget where you are for a short period of time.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah. That's a
good
not
point.
great, you know, and you have explosives. And I don't know about any of you, but I don't particularly want to be holding on to explosives if I lose my mind again for a period. Gee, thanks.
It's reasonable to assume, Dave, that we have enough explosives for each entrance, because
That's right.
Yeah,
Very much so. Noting, though, that 3 seem more complete than the others.
that's all right. We may not even find the other entrances.
And unless stated otherwise, I will assume the complete ones are 1 with Chaz, 1 with Joe, 1 with Katie. Seb and Chaz are holding the 2 that seem to be less completed. Since Seb, you suggested you might want to swap it out later for your books, and Chaz, since you've got 2.
Yep, that's fine.
Sounds good.
You can juggle them
All
as
right.
many, that's just the default. All right, you sort of crouch down and then stand up once more to continue your ascent, and then suddenly spot something or hear it at first. You thought you actually might have been there for a while, or sort of a buzzing underneath the rain, and suddenly you all sit back down again as coming through the clouds, you spot a number of figures. They're higher up and they're moving through the cloud cover, so they're barely perceptible. But with that in mind, can everyone please give me a spot hidden check if you wish to try and look closer and see if you can assess numbers?
Nope.
Anyone else can just sit down, plug their ears, and hope you don't get spotted.
We get out of view, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Duck and cover.
Hit the dead.
Yeah, no
actually,
way. I don't
Duck
care.
and cover, Dave.
I know what
Okay.
they are, and I don't care about
I've
numbers.
seen enough, but it doesn't matter how many there are. We'll kill them however many there are.
Yeah.
Alright.
I mean, it's
All
not
of
going
you
to change our course of action, so.
I mean,
It's-
having an idea of how many. Actually, no, because like just because there's one party coming through, we're like, there's a lot of them. We're in
And, like-
trouble regardless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Everyone, you sort of like hear the buzzing, and everyone in this great picture of paranoia crouches down and moves underneath the brushes. That sort of like insect, like a swarm of locusts sound gets larger and larger, drowning out the rain itself as they move overhead. And you can all feel like sort of like a sickness, a nausea that begins to grip and churn your stomach. But you plug your ears, squeeze your eyes closed, and wait for it to be over. It seems to take an aid. Whatever moved overhead, it was a great number at least. And you could hear them just moving over and beyond, but eventually the nausea begins to leave first, and then before you notice it, you just realize the humming, the undercutting buzzing has been gone for possibly a while. You begin to sort of pull yourselves upright, but as soon as you do, there's that dizzy feeling as if you'd stood up from a chair you've been sitting in for a while, or if you hadn't eaten or drunk anything in quite some time. Chaz, who's continuing to maintain your state, you can take another hit from the bottle, enough to just keep this temporary immunity going forward. It seemed that they were heading in the rough direction of where you are bound.
Cool.
There's one question. Do we need to go into the base, or can we blow this up from like find the entrances, plant the explosives,
I mean,
make things go?
Wouldn't they just...
The base
they- we-
itself? The
yeah.
base itself is something crafted by the Migo. A lot of the entrances are old mine shafts, is the understanding. To blow the mine shafts would definitely be a step back, but would not stop the base itself from operating, and it would be a matter of time before they dig themselves free.
Yeah,
we'd have
that
to
would
do it
just
from the
open the
Unfortunately, the base
entrances up
itself
again.
must be destroyed.
We want
hey,
everything gone.
something else we got to breach. There was some talk a few weeks ago. I don't know. We, as the captain would have said, if we set up any secondary objectives here, there might be some brains of some people we kind of like in there.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Is that
I mean...
something we're concerned about?
what can we do? Like, there's not really anything we can do about that. I mean, it sucks, but I think
Maybe not
we've got
us.
one objective. Let's just stick to it.
Well, maybe not much we can do, but maybe oil and chemical, you know. Get
Look,
back to home base.
if it's easy and it doesn't, you know, slow us down or distract us from blowing this thing sky high, sure. But I think we have to stay on task.
But we're willing to call it a secondary objective, is my point.
I don't know if I'd call it an objective. If you get an opportunity, grab them, sure. But
Sorry, Katie. I think you're speaking over. I'm speaking over you because you're muted.
No, I was just.
Oh, okay.
I almost said something but didn't. I don't think that this stage, there's a million objectives we could pick up at the side. Finding out more, you know, being thorough, surviving might be a secondary objective at this stage.
Yeah.
Let's get
Yeah.
in there. Let's not prioritize too hard. Let's blow this place to Kingdom Come, and if we stagger out the other side, we can figure it out from there.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's we're trying to save as many people as possible, right? And
Also,
that's blowing it up.
Chaz, I know you're trying to save everyone because you care about everyone, but they've spent weeks or months as brains in a jar. I don't think they're gonna be the same people that went in. I mean, you saw Trent, or whatever was inside Trent. At this stage, I don't know, but I think perhaps the kindest thing we can do is make whatever's happening to them end.
Yeah.
I can vouch for that one. Sometimes you just gotta.
I think you're right.
Doesn't make it any easier though.
No, it doesn't.
No. In fact, it'll probably leave us all with lifelong trauma. But I mean, that'll be a blessing because it means we'll be having something that's lifelong.
Thanks for that, Joe. Great thought.
Okay. And with that in mind, you regather your things with the humming stopped and begin to set out once more. You're getting close to where it should be now, but any paths have been swept away, and you can actually see trees that have completely wrested free from the ground by the flood that is beginning to come down the river that fall away. And soon you find that the ascent gets harder and harder. I'm going to need everyone to please make climb rolls to make your way up. And Chaz, how strong are you? What is your strength?
80, baby.
Nice.
You're good. You're good with the two of them, I think.
I'm
He's a
fine.
big
You're
boy.
fine. Oh, good. This is gonna go really bad.
Oh my god, Chaz, you fucking god. This has been your day, mate.
I'm burning all my good rolls in the penultimate session. I can feel
You find an environment you thrive in, and Chaz's is apocalyptic, storm, Migo ending
We've still got a
nonsense.
fucking town to save, yeah?
Yeah, dude. I'm
Okay,
using luck because I do not want to fall back down this fucking slope. That would be a hell of a way to go with 3 hit points.
I'll say, so it's not gonna, you're not gonna go, funny you say that, you're not gonna go all the way back down. This is just damage accumulated from your ascent, but anyone that fails is gonna take a d4 of damage for basically sliding down short ways, stopping or slamming into something and then going back up. Noting that this will come out of your magically increased hit points first. So
I
up
need
to you.
those.
4 points of luck versus 4 points of damage. I know what I prefer.
Yeah.
What does a push penalty look like, Dave?
Attempting to throw yourself higher will increase the damage. Actually, no. You are carrying
You'll
explosives.
just fall down.
Yeah.
And if you actually, if this is already you kind of throwing yourself into the wall to slide down so the explosives don't impact, you can push it, James. There is a very good chance they explode.
I'm good.
We'll go
I'll
to a
take
luck
advantage.
roll after. Yeah.
I'm gonna luck this. I'm gonna spend luck for that because I feel
Okay,
like I'm gonna need those hit points later on more than I'm gonna need my luck.
I like it. Can a d4 then for those that failed.
How do I get for an extreme,
He's
Dave?
low rolling on sanity, high rolling on damage. Hold up. Oh, okay. With the reverse.
I was just about to
with the
ask.
extreme,
With extreme, can I give someone else a hand?
I tell you what, Katie only took 1. She's gonna still take the damage. But narratively, do you want to have caught her from a more significant and deadly fall?
Narratively,
An extreme. Give him a mechanical.
does not justify a bloody 7.
Mechanically, an extreme does not do any better than a normal. It's based on the difficulty of the check.
It's just how we
We
play
already
it. Yeah, no, you're right.
tend to give a lot of stuff, and that makes the
Yeah.
whole, on
We do.
average, a lot easier.
We break the rules because it's more fun.
We do.
Yes, absolutely. Katie will slip and stumble and fall into Chaz's arms.
Aww.
The only thing that stopped her going tumbling down the ravine.
Yeah.
It's true.
Which were, there was no, the dynamite didn't blow up, but that moment was explosive.
Hell yeah.
Stop.
No, really, stop.
With that, a short moment, drenched in the rain, looking into one another's eyes. You're only wrenched away when Seb calls from just above where you've paused and sort of driven your staff into the wall to take a brief break, that you think you might see the entrance. The river, where it is spewed forth from the mountain, is below you. It's an underground river that emerges at this point, and you're now clambered up above it, and you found, Seb, you've spotted a dark opening, quite large, and then what would normally have been a larger platform leading to a road has basically been swept away, where an old mine would have been built. There's no signage or everything, but you can see rusted tracks for like a cart just at the entrance and just inside. It's got enough of an overhang that not much water is going in, but there is a thin like trickle of water from the rain that's beginning to go down. I leave it in your hands. This is the main entrance, the one that you've previously known. The one at the south on that small map that's been drawn.
Yep. Oh, we found one.
One's
Let's
all
go.
we need.
Let's go.
All right. This is it. Get ready. Let's do this.
We're gonna head on in.
Okay.
All right, well, let's do our best to maybe... I wonder if they'll actually be able to hear us over all this rain, but...
I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah, they probably
Once you
got
begin-
like super vibratory, eerie things or whatever.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Once we get to the entrance, I want to quickly do something once we're like just inside, out of the rain.
Okay, noted.
Also,
I'll fly a couple of things just because they'll put points to use. One, Seb, from your research, they do not have sensors as ours are. They do seem to operate in a different way. That said,
Please
general
ignore that
proximity
roll.
seems to still hold, and extremes on sensors will probably still trigger them in some way. Second one being, as soon as you all step inside and take a moment to sort of shake the water off, reignite torches, change batteries, and click them on and look down. This is a long, dark tunnel, and already it's much quieter inside. As you go lower, it will only get quieter, and the occasional rock you kick or something can be heard, along with the faint trickle of rain going down. Sorry, back to you guys.
Cool.
That was an accidental roll, but I think that's me failing to appraise our chances of survival.
Good-o.
Is there
yeah.
any sign of footfall down this mine shaft?
Not a single one.
Great.
And what little there might have been seems to have been stripped away.
Cool. I'm gonna take some of the, I guess,
Are
more
you doing
stable.
this inside the mine shaft or inside the Migo base?
Just inside, just when as soon as we're in dry cover. I'm gonna take out I would have grabbed like a big roll of fuse. I'm not quite sure how long it is. And I'm gonna, if I've got like a smaller, more stable explosive like dynamite or something, I'm gonna like affix the fuse to that and basically once we get a little way in, I'm gonna like put the fuse on the ground, put a little rock on the end of it to keep it there, and just unwind it as we go.
So the
Insurance.
fuse is being held at the entrance with dynamite attached to it. Is that right?
No. The rock is holding it I've still got the dynamite, and I'm taking the dynamite with us, and I'm unrolling the fuse.
Oh,
Gotcha.
so you
I
can
thought you
run
might
out.
be like blowing
So
the
we
entrance
can
behind you.
book it, light it when we get as far as we possibly can, and just have a fuse leading like that.
Yeah,
right
but
over
if someone's
back out.
if someone's chasing us out and we light the fuse, I don't know how the fuse works, but they can probably see the
I mean,
back and they just like
It's pretty,
they
it's
can
pretty
just cut
quick.
it.
They move fast.
Yeah,
But
and
they could
it's
just, they
like
could just cut it or
I
something.
mean, they
right?
could, but like I don't know.
We'd have
if
to hide the
you gotta have
fuse.
pocket knife. Yeah,
This
it's
would
like
work
in
if
the
we could
corner.
hide it. Yeah.
It's
You
like
can
in the-
also
it's like
you can always
on
trigger
the
it
edge.
earlier. This is a good fail
Yes.
safe to
This
have,
is
and then
the
you can do it
insurance.
earlier.
This is
I think it's a
insurance.
great fail safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just
like
like
it.
Like,
the other
it's our
thing-
insurance.
So
The
Joe, you've
worst
got one
you
of those
can
big
do is
spools of it.
fail,
Yeah,
and then we're in the
I'm
same
not,
point as
And
if we
there's
didn't
no
try
roll.
it at all. Yeah.
Basically, I'm
That's
not going to
true.
do it immediately when we walk in. Like, I'm not going to lay the fuse immediately when we walk in. It'll be once we're in there for a while, or once we've reached a point where it starts to look a little bit more dicey. Like, if we're, you know what I mean? Like, if there's a point where it's kind of like, okay, from here on out, it's real sketchy. That's where
100%.
I'll, yeah.
Is it worth a roll to try to hide it and secure it?
We'll get that in a
Harder to
moment.
be messed with.
Yeah. I'd rather do it less hidden, you know.
But at least secure so it doesn't get kicked or, you know.
Yeah.
I'm factoring that in. You guys are moving slowly, sorry. So what happens is, as you guys all head inside, you can hear the occasional drip from the caverns and the faint trickle of water. Outside, the storm continues to rage, but it's got that like distant feel, and it's sort of like, you know, something from the past. I only remember it from your damp skin and wet clothes. Joe gets a little bit inside, and there is that minecart track, and crouches down next to it. And where there is an old screw, you knot the coil around it, and then can begin to run it alongside the track where it's fairly well hidden, and will also keep it sort of like attached to it as it goes down. You'll quickly find the track is not super reliable, points of it is broken away, but it's enough to give you an approximation. And then also it means that if any of you are ever seeking the thread, you'll find it here as it's spooled behind you. So if Joe
wanna
is
do it
sort
like
of going backwards, tracking
Right at
this,
the entrance. It'll be a little bit of a ways in once we start going in. So this may be something that happens a little bit
Noted.
down the...
I'm
Noted.
assuming in essence what you're trying to do is not run out of fuse before we hit something important.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm with you. All right, well, in that case, heading down, who's at the front, and how are you all acting?
I'll be at the back. I'm better at listening than I am at looking, and also if I'm planning to lay the fuse, it's better for me to be at the back.
I'll go relative. I think I'm probably at the front just because Chaz has 2 explosives. and I think that Chaz and I are going to be the run-inners.
Yeah. Be right behind Katie, which leaves, slow limp face right
In the middle.
which is a good secure place to be.
Okay. Are you navigating with all of the torches on?
Not me. My hands are. I won't have a torch.
Okay.
Well, I've got one, but I don't have it on.
Can we can have one partially covered right to the ground in front of us, so
that
we can
works.
see where we're stepping, but not
I will say if you don't have torches on, it is pitch black, so you will need
Yeah.
at least one engaged, and you could put a coat over it to dull the light and just move slowly. Up to you guys.
I have one last question. Just might have come up in conversation. It's actually for Seb. If we look in a situation where we're going to be completely swarmed, has Seb ever addressed whether it's we destroy the tomes before we go down kind of situation rather than let it fall into other people's hands? Not angling for a particular answer, just genuinely curious.
We haven't discussed it, and we can certainly discuss it if Katie decides to bring it up at some point.
Bring it up. Okay, I think probably walking into the dungeon is not the best time. So it occurs to Katie, and I'll bring it up
Best
at
time.
time.
Bold to assume there'll be another point.
Yeah, Seb
I think-
may have some ideas about what happens, but that's not something that we have discussed yet.
And I think what it probably is it occurs to Katie, and then she goes, you know what? I trust Seb. He'll make the right call. whatever it is, as we continue deeper.
Okay. So walking with Katie at the front in a sort of an obscured light, finding the path, you're walking cautiously, and I imagine actually probably each have a hand on the person in front of you to just keep track, with Seb holding on to just Joe's coattails as she looks for a point to plant the explosives and begin running the thread down into the darkness. You go for quite a way, and you can hear this trickling water moving ahead of you. When Katie, you'll hear it first. You've been descending for about 20 minutes or so.
Probably about
when Katie,
10, 15 in, that's when I would have started rolling it.
So at this
yeah.
point, you're beginning to run it backwards. Katie, you can hear the trickle changes, and it's now a very faint free flow of water going over a drop. You haven't seen anything yet. It's still a little bit further beyond. Unless you stop immediately. When you keep walking... Jim?
Yeah, it sounds like... Yeah, no, so I'm just thinking. I want to make sure
Do
that
you hold everyone?
Yeah, I want to make sure we're not about to step over a cliff, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. So you pause a little bit, and then very cautiously looking forward, you take steps, and you don't really know what you might be expecting. Maybe chuck a rock occasion to be could they have some way of masking how we can perceive? But no, the trickling's still a little bit further along, and then the light catches an edge. This mine tunnel is about 8 foot in every direction, a approximate circle. Suddenly, in the center of the ground, the cart tracks stop. There is a perfectly smooth hole that descends, and when Katie shines the light across it, you can see there is a perfect 5-foot cube removed from the ground that just goes straight down.
Oh, I don't like that.
To skirt around on either side and to catch back up with the tracks further up ahead, you would need to shimmy along the edge of about a 2-foot platform.
Right. 2 feet, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
About this
Great.
much.
That's
And
not bad.
with
That's not bad.
the explosives on you, you have to sort of swing it to your front and just sidle along.
Oh, yeah,
You
we
take
got
it
a lot of
slowly,
gear.
it shouldn't be an issue.
It's on the front. So I've already got it on the front. It's good.
Can we see the bottom of this thing? Do we know how,
Do you
don't
wanna-
know how deep?
Do you want to crack a flare?
No.
No, I'm thinking of cracking an
Drums
explosive
in.
and dropping it down. You said a significant shock might be enough to set one of these off, right? Could we get one of the dodgy ones and
Do
just
you know
drop it
what?
straight down?
I would not drop it
Please.
down, but I would.
Yes.
I reckon we leave one. We have one. We remember this. Remember this point, because if we got to do something dramatic quickly, I just drop it down.
I really want to drop one down.
I know,
right now.
so do I. But you know
Knowing
what's going to happen? It'll go off, and the whole thing will come down on top of us.
Nah,
I know that in the previous
we got 25
campaign-
sessions out of this campaign. We're done. We're good. We can take a break next week. It's all good.
Blow everybody up in one fell swoop.
A single dynamite stick thrown ended up blowing up a state almost. So,
Yeah, what dickhead would end an entire campaign with an explosive roll?
I know, right?
We've got a
Chaz,
bad
you wanna
track
drop
record
one?
with explosives.
Do we have pythons or something to that, or something that can be something pointy?
That is absolutely not
Yeah.
something I would have thought to bring.
They're probably not explicitly pitons, but they might be like thick tent pegs or something. And you've only got a few. You got everything you're carrying is kind of like improvised bits of.
Yeah, that's
crap.
fine.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm sure everyone heard it. I just made a note of it. Dave specifically said this shouldn't be too hard if you don't hurry.
If you take it slow, yeah.
Yeah, we'll take it.
So,
We're doing
given that we're
everything
probably
slow.
going to be fine getting in, we're much
Yeah.
more likely to be in a hurry getting
boo.
out. Then I would
Boo.
like to go ahead and get like a couple of the pythons, and if we manage to get over this without issue, I'm gonna jam pythons and then put rope, so we essentially have a handhold to like
On the
pull
way
us
back.
On the way back, if we need to do it in a hurry. That is Seb's. Well, I might not do it. I might get the strong people to bash them into a wall real hard, but
It'll
that's
probably
Seb.
be
Seb just goes like,
survival to-
"Hey,"
Yeah.
or I don't know.
It'll be
Bruce.
survival
The strong-
or climb to set that up, especially because you're using it with improvised materials. But it's a great idea, and that will make your if you need to sprint down here for some reason, it'll
Yeah.
be much easier.
That
Yep,
is
and
the
on
plan.
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So if we take our time to get across, setting one up on this side, if it's only 5 foot, setting one up on it, like that will stretch
Yeah.
tall without too much issue. I don't think we could chuck
Yeah.
a third one in, but it's going to be easier
Nah.
to just do two.
Who's going across first?
I'll go across first. What'll it be to
Okay.
get across?
Do we want to?
X.
Hopefully, it shouldn't be anything.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll just go slowly. Sweet.
Do we want to take a rope across? Like
Yeah.
make sure that we.
Yeah.
Again,
I'll take the other
even
end.
without the python. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
to
I'll
set
take
this
the
up.
end of a rope and go across
Let's
first.
tie a rope off somewhere behind us.
Okay. So Joe, you like grab the coil of
50 foot of hempen rope.
what's it called? Yeah, but I'm also thinking the explosive trigger, and you like hook it into like a loop or something, so it's still running backwards but loosely, and then you grab the other end of rope and put it over your shoulder. With one arm against the wall, you edge out, and soon you're standing, looking across, pointedly not looking down because you fear, sort of like the dizziness might overtake you. With your it's sort of instinct, your other hand goes to like steady yourself,
Yeah,
but just
nah.
nothing. And then it's a moment before you catch it and you slide out. Your foot kicks one of the rocks, which like goes over and falls
Drums
down.
in the deep.
And if it hits anything, you don't hear it. You
Great.
make your way sliding across, and then you get to the other side where you can begin to hammer in one of the pitons and set up a system
Yeah.
to go across.
Yeah. I
Who's
will
going
probably
next?
like just secure the rope quite quickly first, and then I'm going to crouch down and take one of my other small explosives because I grabbed anything that was explosive, particularly small ones, just as many as possible. And basically, as I go through here, the goal is to set up as many things that we can trigger on the way out if we have to leave in a hurry. So I'm going to take one of the smaller explosives, maybe like a brick of explosives or something, and take a little bit of fuse and just put it in like behind a rock that could just easily be maybe like lit and chucked behind us or lit and kicked into the hole, whatever we want to do.
It's
Just-
you'll
There
probably
is
have.
explosive.
Imagine you'll have one bundle of dynamite. Let's say just 6 pieces
take one
beyond the
out.
larger explosives. So, and this will be the first one that you choose to place here.
Yep. I'm going to take it out and just put it there, and it's got its own little fuse, and I'm like including the bigger fuse in the big lot, and then it's just going to be there, and if we have a need.
Perfect. You crouch and begin to set that up as the next person sidles their way across the crevice.
I'll
Let's
go.
go. Okay. Seb, moving along, like
I'm
picking
very
your way
slow.
across with the cane. You stand for a second in the center and then just keep pushing your way across to the side where you can meet Joe and look back at Chaz and Katie yet to cross.
I'll go next.
I'm gonna. Have we done the setup on that side with the two? Like, have we established that we've done this thing, or is that something we need to roll for now, or like when we try and use it?
You are right. It will need a roll. I think you can do it now, though. Either Chaz or whoever wants to set up, it will be either climb or survival.
I've got pretty good climb. I can do that.
Do you want to be the one that does them? I go ahead and take a bonus. No, actually, no, straight roll. Sorry, straight roll.
What's your climb?
It's improvised supplies and things. It's in the dark. It's a straight roll.
What's your climb?
58.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was proper. Students take one athletic pursuit. It was climb.
Nice. Katie's into bouldering.
just-
We love to see it.
The one kid that just went up and down the
Chalked
rope
up.
all gym class.
Yeah, just the one rope, nothing else.
I got
No cardio.
I got scared and stuck up the top of it one gym class and didn't come down, and my muscles permanently attached myself. And as you can see, it's not helping because I can't succeed today.
You hammer them in.
What
There
happened
is
to-
a pin on either side, and there is rope run along it, but it is not. If you actually fell and grabbed it, you think it'd just wrench out of the mud and the wall. It's good. It gives confidence, like hold on to it, it's something to pull across. But actually, full weight, it just won't hold. Unfortunately, you could. It's probably. I think that's too tapped.
Yeah, I think it's.
Not one that doesn't end very badly. Okay. Who's going across next? Okay. Katie begins to sidle her way across, and you just get 1 foot in, still at this point holding onto like Chaz's shoulder, and then you'll let go and continue on. You are, again, basically the best climber of the group, so you're pretty confident moving across. And at this point, Chaz, can you please make a listen roll?
Don't want to, but I do. Thank goodness.
Yeah,
It's
because
when
Chaz is the only one
Katie's-
who's succeeding today.
It's when Katie's halfway across and just beginning to step across the other side that you hear buzzing coming down from the way you came. Something is coming down this tunnel, and they are moving fast.
Someone's coming down this tunnel and they're moving fast.
Let's go. We gotta go. So are we. We're gonna move fast. Let's go. Let's find somewhere that we can either hide or
Yeah,
Chaz,
a corner where we can jump them.
in a corner
yeah,
where we
let's
can
get ready.
jump them. Yeah, something. We gotta go. We're going. Chaz, get across here.
come on, let's go.
I'll get across here.
Okay, are you going slowly,
Quickly?
or would you like to try and move quickly?
Yeah, I guess I'm going quickly, Dave.
Okay.
Since
Could you
you
please make a
made-
dexterity roll?
Alrighty.
Okay.
Hey.
Chaz does like a shimmy and moving at pace. He gets to the other side and joins the other 4 of you, and you begin to rush. Now, what is your intent? Are you trying to outpace the thing that's rushing behind you, or are you trying to find a crevice or something where you can throw yourselves into
Yeah.
and hide?
Either hide or somewhere
I-
to jump out at them, like
I
if
think,
there's not
yeah.
as many. Yeah, that
What Joe
one.
said.
I don't think we
neither
can.
of the hiding ones.
Yeah, I don't think we can outpace them. Somewhere to hide, and if there's not many of them, we will probably want to jump them.
I don't even
Okay.
think somewhere. I think we find a corner and then we all
Corner,
step up there and
crevice.
it comes around and donked.
Whatever.
There's not really a ton of corners. It does curve a little bit,
Yeah.
but there's the occasional crevice where
Crevice.
you might be able to slide away. Can I get
More than one,
I'll
though,
need
if we
someone.
could- Let's not all cram into the same fucking one.
I'll need someone to make either a spot hidden or possibly a natural world to find a something you can shimmy inside. I think spot hidden is probably the dominant skill. And you're
Anyone?
only going to get 1 shot at this roll otherwise. And we are based on this as what you get a chance to find.
Would
54.
stealth be appropriate?
Stealth will be what you roll if you can find something. Otherwise, you're rolling it, and basically you possibly won't have a chance. It's nowhere really to go.
Has
Is
anyone
it-
got?
All
The
of
one
us
per- is it-
rolling or one person rolling?
think it's one.
Sorry. One of you, but someone can assist. Is the people at the front basically looking, and the others are just going to throw themselves into across the side?
54?
My spot 57.
Please.
Go
Alright.
ahead and take a bonus.
Am I making it?
They're making it.
Go for it, Jim.
I'm making it.
On the other hand, I have been rolling a lot better than Chaz has been rolling.
Gambler's
better than Katie
fallacy
this
doesn't
session.
work like that.
Yeah, Gambler's fallacy. We talked about this.
Boom.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, we love you.
Yeah.
Okay, with Katie on the other side, she you hear everything, and Chaz goes like, go, go. You rush to the front and get the torch back out and begin to scan the sides. The buzzing is getting louder and louder when you spot a crevice, a shift in the tectonics or whatever has opened up twin veins on either side, deep enough that 2 people could get in on either side. However, the deeper participant will not easily be able to leave. However, they will be almost assumed to be hidden. Who's going where? So left and
I'm gonna
right,
haul
one
Seb.
deeper, one.
I'm going to haul Seb into one in front of me, and I'm going to be in front of Seb.
Okay,
I
so
think I think put Chaz and me at the front. We have higher stealth and we want to jump in and hit.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
you only have a moment to act.
Go, come with me. Quick.
Yeah. Go,
All right.
girls and guys, let's go.
I will get behind Chaz because I have no interest in being involved in this, and I would like to
Okay.
not. I think Seb Actually, we'll see how it goes. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Seb,
Yeah.
you're almost like bodied into the crack, and then you push further. You can see like it's scraping against again, like first clothing, but then that's twisting. Wet cloth is quite like uncomfortable against the sores that are protecting your body, and then you shift harder, wanting to give it as much space as possible for Chaz so that he can swing out. On the other side, Joe, you squirm in deeper, and with your sort of
protecting
pinned
my arms.
frame.
I don't really want to hit that onto the
Yep, just moving through, and then Katie and Chaz both take up positions, unholstering their cudgels and crouching low, listening for what will come and trying to time their strike, if it will be appropriate. Chaz and Katie, can you please both give me stealth tests? Normal roll.
Really invested in this roll.
Katie, are you turning off your light?
I think I would, but yeah, I failed the stealth roll anyway. But I would have intended to, so yes.
So you found a way off the path, and you're kind of out of sight. You're continuing to rely. You've turned off the light, and you're relying on hearing to track when this thing's coming. The buzzing gets louder and louder until it's just completely filling your ears. You can feel like reverberating against your bones, and suddenly it moves past. And at some point, you didn't track exactly when, something flew past you in the darkness. A single thing
we missed it.
Deeper down below. You're not sure if it saw you. It didn't seem to stop or anything, but you never saw it, nor did you really hear it come or go. Eventually it begins to vanish.
As in, like, this is separate to the buzzing, or this is the buzzing?
No, that seemed to be the source of it.
Right, got it.
And we missed it.
Missed it.
All right, well, let's just keep going then. If it did spot us, we want to move quickly before it can alert all its friends. Come on.
Yeah.
Out and we keep going.
Okay.
Let's pick up the
Gonna
pace.
continue to lay the dynamite, I guess.
You get back out and continue to lay the coil, and suddenly, not suddenly. Yes, suddenly. The ground continues as in like earth and stone, and then suddenly it's at an angle. There's a very clear break point, as if a separate piece from a toy has been placed up against like a natural device that a child was playing with. Like, so there's the tunnel, and then suddenly the ground's at an angle. There's a clear line against it, and it's all slightly askew. It's also crafted from a sort of chrome-looking bronze metal, still dark, but just goes off straight down, not straight down, but like angled, continuing to descend, but again, slightly off kilter, and you can hear from deeper in sort of buzzing once more as well, with the occasional like pumping of what might be like tubes or some sort of like pump system sending fluid throughout the area, occasional like clattering, twisting and things. You're pretty sure you've arrived.
Just for visuals, is what this looks like, if you took like a chunk of earth in like a circle and you just teleported that in a circle to another location, that's what you mean by like shears? Like there is a distinct difference?
Yes, but rather than the tunnel teleporting, the thing it has arrived at seems to have been sort of like created here or arrived here and not been a perfect match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is immediately created from like, metal and more, modern materials. Beyond modern.
Cool.
Cool. Neat, nice. Are we like right at the edge of it? Or can we just see it?
You are standing at it. You can see like a point where your foot like bumps against like a twist. You are standing at it. And from here it continues down a little ways.
Okay. So what I'm going to do from
traps. Oh, sorry. Again.
what I'm going to do from here, I think,
Paul?
is I'm going to get ready to kind of deposit the dynamite somewhere. Again, as soon as we start to hear more things, or whichever sense is getting sketchier, I would like the bundle of dynamite to be hidden somewhere. Again, in case we have to book it.
This might also be one of the places to plant one of the explosives, as it seems that you are now within the
that's
facility.
Good idea.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This is where the dynamite's going to hide it.
Why don't we put the dynamite down and then we'll leave one of the incomplete ones here because the dynamite will probably set it off.
Correct.
All right,
right next to it, and we
Shall
can
I-
just chain reaction it.
You
Shall I
have
place-
5 remaining pieces of dynamite. Do you want to preserve any, Joe, to be carrying with you? Or using all?
I'm going to take one, so it'll be 4 in the bundle. So I would like this to be a large boom.
Okay.
I'll take 2 because if we were going to leave the other explosive, although, do we know that that's even going to explode?
Fingers crossed.
We don't know anything.
I think 2 here is probably pretty safe.
Yeah, I reckon 2 here, hidden with, like, not hidden, but like out of sight. I'm not going to spend too long trying to find a hiding place for it, but like not just in the middle of the path. With one of the incomplete explosives, and I'm going to keep 2 with me.
I'll leave mine here, if that's because then that just unladens me a little, which makes it easier for me to move, which is good for me, because I'm not good at moving.
Right.
And then I can focus on other stuff. If our map serves us correctly, then we've come in through somewhere. There may be another entrance along this way, but there should be another exit off to the left through a room of some kind. And then we have to make our way through the entire facility to find the rest.
I think if we go as central as possible, if we can do this without being spotted and just set off a chain reaction of explosives, then...
So the idea is less to blow the entrances and more just to get as many explosives in the center mass of this place.
Yeah, because if we blow the entrances, they'll just dig themselves out.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right.
Center mass, take it down. And if we
I don't
see
need
anything
it.
that looks like machinery that could potentially, like an engine or something that could blow the whole thing, even better. Let's try and disable and sabotage that.
So, okay, just quick. We don't have a lot
Fuck
of
the
time.
entrances.
We don't have a lot of time. We're going center mass. We're going to plan as many of these as we can. If we need to exit via another exit,
Look,
And
exit
get-
secondary. You know what I mean? Like find the center of it, make sure the center's going to go, and then if we can seal off, prevent them from escaping while leaving ourselves, ideally an escape route, then that's secondary to getting this shit down.
well, more if we get caught dealing with putting these down, we can get out via another exit, and so long as they're close enough to each other, if we light the fuse in the first entrance we're in, we may be able to do this remotely. We may
Yes.
not need to be in here to set things off.
Exactly.
We just need to start the chain. All right, let's do it.
I'm gonna put it out there right now. If we've got to book it, even if there is another entrance, I'm going back this way because this is where I've put the fuse, and I will get to the end of that and light it. And I'm just laying the cards out there, guys, that even if there is another entrance that's probably safer to leave by, this is where the fuse is, this is where the dynamite is, and that's what I'm going to be doing.
If we have to go,
This is the way I'm going.
Everybody go. Find an
Yeah.
exit and leave.
And we got options. That's the important thing. We're setting up options.
Do our best.
Okay.
God willing, we'll... Never mind.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that whole God thing anymore. Anyway,
Alright.
onward.
We keep going to try and find center mass.
Send to mass
So-
something to destroy.
Joe crouches down and gets one of the less stable explosives. You unwrap it
Seb?
from the improvised canvassing. Sorry, Joe crouches down and runs the cable, the fuse along through it. You then take 4 sticks of dynamite and basically like just roughly tape it together and position it off towards the side before
2.
continuing to move with the cable. 2,
I'm
right?
only
And
going to
keeping
leave 2
2
because
for
I'm
yourself.
keeping 2.
Then stepping out and onto the platform, Katie has walked first previously, so you sort of walk out and your boot sort of clicks onto it a little bit, and then you step forward again. There's like wet water dropping from you around here, and you can hear all these strange sounds echoing from further within. Your torch continues to like reflect on what's bouncing off the walls around here, and there's no other signs of light. Moving forward, the 4 of you enter the facility. Now we are going to leave the session here, but I have marked where the explosive is laid, and from here on out you will need to explore the space and see if you can find other locations to lay the explosives and possibly other things. You might be some of the first people to ever step foot here or have this opportunity, so what you do with it is up to you, and we will find that out next week when we return. Hot.
Kept it
Hey, Jackson was probably
Dog.
right about penultimate session.
For the base at the very least.
I mean, look, if we don't die doing this, there is an entire
Oh, we've got other
human
chances.
harvest going on that's absolutely gonna kill us. So, you know. it's
Oh
fine.
yeah, this isn't our only chance for a blaze of glory. There's plenty.
Yeah.
Excellent
As
session.
always,
Thanks,
another
North.
blaze. Thank you, guys. All right, awesome. So this will be up on the YouTube soon, and we'll also, you know, if you want to chat about it, come over and hang out in our cool Discord, which James is just plugged. Thank you, James. And that's, again, just down in the YouTube. We will be back next week to continue our investigation into the Migo base. We hope we will see you then. Goodbye.